Hey, I'm Grizzly Greg. We get rowdy, like to break stuff. Whoa! Woo! Hold on, Justin! Take a minute to check out my sponsor, Pandemic Performance, for all your performance needs. Thanks for watching. Evening. Back at you here with another garage vlog. Today, as you probably saw in a previous video, I blew out my mid gears again on my Grizzly 700. This is the driven, this is the drive. Just butchered that thing. Be the second set. The other set's right there. That happened at Sabine, trying to water wheelie in the river. This one, I was 3/4 throttle with full diff lock on, just letting her eat for probably about 45 seconds straight, and the gears just couldn't hold up. So it's been on jack stands for a while because I got a wheel bearing that's really wobbly, front right. That I'm going to try tackling tonight. Still waiting on clutching. I ordered a clutch kit 2 weeks ago from AD Clutching out of Nova Scotia, and the stupid customs, it's been at the customs place for like 5 days, so hopefully it'll get here next week. It is what it is. Then, as Big Blue's sitting here on jack stands, the seal started leaking on my front diff. I just replaced this seal that's in here on that side because it was leaking, so I'm just going to pull the whole diff out. Since I got to take this wheel bearing apart anyway, I can pop that axle off. Then I just got half of thing to take apart over there. Pull the diff out this way and get her on the bench, and I actually have seals here. That seal and that seal. I might as well just throw 2 fresh seals in that bad boy, and hopefully that'll last a while. And another thing is I found some coil, I should say, not coil wheel bearings on Marketplace. Found a pair of these with an exhaust tip. Guy was selling them for 50 bucks. That's a $50 bearing, basically. I think it's a little cheaper than that on Amazon. I think you can get them for about $35, $40. But yeah, figured that was a good deal, still in the box. And then I ordered up a Havoc Industries greasing tool. Don't know why it took me 11 years to order up a greasing tool for Grizzly wheel bearings, but go on Amazon, just type in 30mm greasing tool. There's a bunch of options that come up. There's this $25 Havoc Industries one. Then there's some cheap other China looking ones that are like $14, but I just have had mixed reactions with the cheapest stuff that you buy on Amazon. Sometimes it's maybe better just to spend $10 extra for something that's maybe got an actual name on it instead of just ching chong mung. So, but another thing, got a new addition to the shop here. Our local Fleet Farm is running Milwaukee Deal Days this week, and go buy 2 5-amp-hour batteries, pick out a tool for free. Obviously, it's not any tool. It's a list of like 7 or 8 tools, and I saw this light was on a deal, and whew, that thing throws some light. So heck, that'll come in handy at an event for working on something on the trailer. So bust that out tonight. But yeah, we'll take you along for the ride here. We'll first thing you got to do here is get the brake caliper off. It's a couple of 12mm, a couple of 10s. Get that out of the way. You got your cotter pin and your castle nut for your tie rod. Pop that off. And then there's a ball joint here and a ball joint down here. Pop them off. And then a big 27mm castle nut here for the axle. That whole thing slides off, and then you can press the wheel bearing out. But I'll pick you guys up when I have this out and on the bench. There. That's all taken apart. Took only about 15 minutes. And this is what you get. Got a wobbly wheel bearing in there. Ooh. You can see how if you get wobbly. So yeah, we're definitely gonna press that out, press that new one in. But next I'm gonna move around to the other side here and just pop that axle out here so I can move the pull the diff out on that side. So we're gonna do that quick. All right, front diff is out. It's on the bench. I already replaced that seal. I got this seal right here, which goes right here. There's just a big, I think it's like a 20. It looks like it might be like a 19 mil nut in there. Don't quote me on that. Pretty rusty in here. I'm gonna clean this out with my Dremel wire wheel on the Dremel there. I'm also gonna replace this seal before I stick that back in there. And as you can see, this is the side I just cleaned up and greased that goes into the engine, because obviously I just did the mid gears. But this is the side that goes in the diff. That is crusty. So we're gonna get a wire wheel in there and shine all this up, and then layer that in grease too before I slap her back together. But yeah, I probably should just take this whole front diff right apart and rebuild it, but that is a ways down the road yet. She'll last a while yet. So yeah, here we go. All right, I'll kind of show you here how I replace a seal. I don't know if you guys know what a seal puller is. If you do any type of mechanical work, very handy tool to get. But there's a bunch of dirt around here. First thing I would do would be to kind of get some of that out of there. And me, I just throw it on the ground in my garage. Ooh. And then I just sweep it up later. But this is, at least that's what I do. Seal puller. If you guys don't know what a seal puller is, look it up. Kind of stick it in behind there. Sometimes you just gotta find the right. Oh, I don't know if this one's ever been out. Let's use the other side here. Yep, that's what it needed. Simple as that. Grab your new seal. Stick your rag in there. Make sure you got a clean surface. This one you can work right in with your thumbs. And if you want, you can grab a hammer and get a regular pin punch like this and just tap it around, but I might just use it as a push tool. Nope, not going in. So I'm gonna grab myself a small hammer. There's obviously seal and bearing drivers you can buy, but I don't have one. So we're left with right there. One down. Let's do this one. That's in here. There's a 19 mil. This is kind of risky, so take it easy on the trigger. It's coming. Oh, that's rough on the hand, so careful. Never do that if it's a sharp gig. Pull that right off. And you got your seal. Dump your nut out. Yeah, we're gonna clean that out. Then what I'll do here is get a bunch of dirt on here. I always kind of like a clean-ish work area. Oh, they had red Loctite on that. Yes, they did. This one might be a little bit trickier, but we'll see if we can pop it out or not. Let's try this one. Let's go from this way. There it goes. Pry it right out. There you go again. That's the look inside. Make sure you clean that surface off. And you just gotta get another blue shop rag. People think that living in Wisconsin, you know, we're lucky to be a cheese place, cheese and brats, you know, that's what we're known for. But cool thing about also being in Wisconsin is a lot of the big paper product companies are right down the street. A lot of my buddies work for them. You know, the Procter and Gamble and the Georgia Pacific, the Kimberly Clark. One of my cousins that I hunt with, he's a mill manager for the Marinette Kimberly Clark mill, Marinette, Wisconsin. And I do his sons and his European mounts every year for whitetail deer. And he pays me in blue shop towels. Gets me a whole case. So I never run out of these bad boys. Here's your seal. Just to let you know, I bought All Balls Racing seals. All Balls gets a very mixed reviews online. I have never had an issue with any All Balls products. I continue to use them to this day, and probably will continue to use them for a while because I have never had an issue with them. So this one, you can just use the hammer. And once she's about flush, done. So a couple old seals, new seals. So yeah, now we're just gonna clean this up. We're gonna clean this up. There's a before. And let's take a look what it looks like after I'm done with the wire wheel and Dremel. Oh, I'm sorry. I got in the zone a little bit, but take your Dremel, little wire wheel on there. I actually already got the diff halfway sitting in the frame here, but as you can see, she's cleaned up, got fresh grease on her. Got that side already popped on. So we're just gonna get this slid in here. And then everything's going to match up with these bolt holes here with the diff. And then, stick the bolts in. I'm going to pull the drain plug, let it drain out, because there was a lot of that oil that came out of there. See the water that's in there? Yeah, it's amazing. These front diffs are very hardy. I will stick up for a front diff on a Grizzly 700 any day, even though there's only 48 horsepower in this machine. But still, pretty cool. And that bolt goes all the way through. And then once it's all the way through, you get the nut on the other side. Then you can pivot it, move it around to get this one started and that one started. And I would highly recommend to get these, you know, 7, 8, 9 threads in by hand before you run an impact, and then tighten them with a ratchet. The other thing is I had water come out of this diff. I think that has something to do with these seals all being worn out. Water sneaks in there once you're in deep water, so I'm gonna let that diff drain for 24 hours before I stick some fresh oil in there. Another thing I did while I was off camera is I had a tie rod in here that was so sloppy I'm surprised it was staying together. But I parted out a Grizzly 550 not too long ago, so I had a spare tie rod up there. Just stole a tie rod end off of that and got that up and going. And now on to the wheel bearing. So first thing we do is you got to take the snap ring out, and then thought that was a crack there for a second, but this is just grease. So I'll take the snap ring out right here, and then you can either hit it with a hammer if you don't have a press, or I stick it in there in the press just like this and press that bearing out. It's a lot less, you're not compromising this aluminum knuckle as much. So, but I tell you what, you go to Northern Tool, I love these iron ton, 20-ton bottle jack presses. The 20-ton is, it's solid. It's a very nice press. Brandon's over here all the time using it. I shouldn't say all the time, but he's over here once a year using it, changing wheel bearings, you know, and the amount of wheel bearings I go through. I use it multiple times a year. So yeah, we'll get that snap ring off and start pressing. I'll pick you up when I'm pressing the bearing out. Yeah, so you take your Dremel, turn it on. Just get any type of rough stuff out of there. Clean out that snap ring groove really good. Sometimes I go up to 20. Turn her down. That's about all you do. Now you take some brake cleaner, go over to your garbage, just brake clean that out. You're ready for the new bearing. Okay, so we got the new bearing in there. We got the press all set up. Had to whip out the old Snap-on Master ball joint press kit that I paid way too much money for back in the day. But as you can see, it's not even really straight up and down here, but it's actually working. Well, it was working until right now. So now I gotta readjust here, see what I'm gonna do. But you just gotta kind of work it down, and as soon as you feel resistance, you gotta stop for a second. Looks like I gotta press it in on this side a little more. So we'll kind of go over here for a second. Let's see what happens. No, that didn't work either. So you just kind of got to play with it a little bit until you get her to keep popping. So I'm going to keep playing around. We'll get that bearing in, and I'll pick you up there. There you go. Bearing is in. You got to put the snap ring back in there. And then wheel bearing is done. When I press it in, I always grab a little PB Blaster. Don't be fooled by the WD-40. There's PB Blaster in here because it works way better. Spray the inside of that with PB Blaster. This will slide and press in a little nicer. So yeah, I guess that's gonna make it the video. I guess yeah, thanks for following along. All my followers over these last, 10 years or so of sort of uploading videos. Hopefully we can get this bad boy out and ripping sooner and later again. The issue is it's November. I'm a big bow hunter. Wisconsin's gun deer season is the week of Thanksgiving, so I'm doing that entire week. Nobody's really riding. Trails are closing down. It's kind of that weird time of year where people are transitioning in the winter and everybody's kind of focusing on deer hunting, including myself. So, as you can tell, I, shoot decent deer usually every year. Nothing huge, just decent. But yeah, we'll get this up and going. Hopefully my clutching comes in like I mentioned earlier this week. I can get that together and see if everything moves. And hopefully she'll be back on all fours sooner and later. And man, within the next couple months, I can't wait to show you guys what I got coming. Pretty excited about it. It's been taking up a lot of my time, and it's gonna be sweet. It's gonna be sweet. So, thank you. Stay tuned for the next video.